This is episode 67 of the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. In this episode, JK and I discuss a few listener questions, and then we get into a chat about anti-doping and how to navigate the testing procedures and everything that goes along with it as an athlete. We also recorded this on Tuesday of this past week and learned today that there was a passing of a prominent figure in the hybrid space, Rylan Schadegg. He was a great guy and just a good dude all around in every interaction we've ever had with him. We'll miss him, the community will miss him, and he is actually the first person who publicly stated and almost demanded anti-doping in High Rocks. There were athletes before who had said it should be done. The community has said it should be done, but Rylan took a big stand for it in 2023. And that is apt for this conversation that we're about to have. So take a moment for Rylan, and if you can, look him up. Our hearts go out to his family. Let's make hybrid fitness work for you. How's it doing?
That's
Take
the first
two.
time ever. That's the first time ever.
How's it going today, JK? I
I
should just
am
leave that in.
going. Yeah, I'm going very well, thank you, Anthony. That's the first time you've ever not done it correctly.
Well, usually I'm just asking you how you doing. I got dogs barking in the
Yeah.
background. I heard a truck pull up. I think we're getting something
I think
delivered.
I think I would have done it a few times myself, but I'm well. How are you going, Anthony?
I'm good. Actually, you know what? You keep talking, and why don't you talk about that workout before I get over this? Because I have to look out my window right as we started.
Yeah, yeah. We've got an exciting episode coming up, but I just asked Anthony if I could talk about one of the workouts um I did last week. Obviously Anthony programmed it for me. And look, Anthony, I don't know if you've watched my YouTube video yet, but I talk about it as a intense workout, and um you did not necessarily want me to do it intensely or all out. So anyway, the workout is 4 time 500-meter row, 100 burpee to plate, 400-meter run. And in my programming, in my notes, Anthony said pretty much like, can you go sub 10 minutes? And as soon
Hey,
as yeah.
yeah, I knew you could do sub 10 minutes. This isn't the first time you've done this workout, but
Yeah,
I knew you could do sub 10, but I didn't want you like sprinting it either.
I know. And here's the thing that goes in my head when Anthony does, and you don't do it a lot because I think you don't put these things in a lot for a reason, right? As soon as you say sub 10, or like as soon as you put in like oh, I want you to do this, I'm trying to not do that. I'm trying to smash it. So that's what I guess my mindset was. So anyway. 500-meter row, 100 burpee to plate, 400-meter run. I ended up doing 825. 825. Which I guess, guys, if you look at it, it's all a burpee workout, right? Burpee cadence and whatnot. But it's a great little intense piece. Doesn't have to be intense. Doesn't have to be intense, but I think I rode a 141. Burpee 5 minutes 20-ish for the 100 burpee to plate. And then it was like a 120, maybe a 125 for the 400-meter run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds about right. I think that's about what you told me.
yeah. it was great. I loved it. And if you're listening to this and you want to give it a crack, please let us know how you go.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun workout. It's like I said, it's aerobic. You obviously pushed it. I mean, most people are not going to be doing 10 or sorry, 18 and a half to 19 burpees per minute after rowing that hard. If you guys want to give it a try, see if you can go sub 12 to start with.
Yeah,
Sub
that's a
12 is a
good.
good goal. Gives you about 7 to 7.5 minutes for the burpees, which is pretty steady for
Yes.
most people.
Yeah.
You obviously like pushed your burpees. Your row was not like super hard, but still reasonably well paced, right?
Yeah.
And then your run is the final. Just you went out and went for it. So
Yeah.
like just to end it. So I think
Yeah.
I think it was a great movement for you. Even even if I have to say, I don't think that's what you could do if it was like, all right, JK, I'm going to put this for time and I'm going to have other people racing you.
You think I'd go faster?
I think you go sub 8.
Really? I was
Yeah.
going to ask you that like on our one-to-one about it. Do you think I could go sub 8?
Yeah, I think you could go just under 5 minutes for the burpees or about 5 minutes for the burpees. If somebody's racing you and you're going for it, I think like a
Yeah.
1:38 ish for your
Yeah.
row. And then obviously like you would just be sprinting the final and the that would just mean you'd have to run it at like a 75-second 400 or a
75 second.
75 to
Yeah.
80-second 400.
Yeah. I was thinking that I was talking to Georgie about it. I said, surely I wouldn't be able to get sub 8. But if you break it down like you just did, it's like, oh yeah, like it's not too much well, it is 25 seconds faster, but it's not too much faster per split.
But it's mostly faster in the burpees. And I
Yeah.
know you can do 20 burpees per minute for 5 minutes because of the other workout we've done, which was 6 rounds of running and burpees. Because I know you
That's
do
where
those
you get
25 burpees in like 70 seconds every time.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, interesting. I'll see and wait until you program it again. Which might be for like another year.
It'll probably be, yeah, like 6, 8 months before you see it again, depending on
Yeah.
how this it goes, right? Like sometimes we like, but it wasn't meant to be like, here's your
Yeah.
staple workout, you know? It was just one that
Yeah.
was in there as I want you to get some burpee volume. I want you to have some like conditioning around it. And, it's one of those strength builders for your race.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
because it fits the way that you race a high rocks.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things where sometimes you just need workouts that are purely in your wheelhouse, um, that are not meant to be as fast as possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so if,
so
if you're listening to this, give it a crack and let us know how you go.
yeah, that'd be great. I'd be curious if anybody knows now, or if anybody does it and how they do on it. Now, I want to go over a little bit of the roadmap. Our last episode we talked about the athlete license, and we said that this episode was either going to be threshold or talking about anti-doping. And you guys that probably saw the title of whatever we're going to call this episode already know what it's going to be. But I think JK, you and I have been talking before we got on this as well. I wanted to deep dive into the like anti-doping to make sure we understood it. But I
Yep.
think I've done a little bit of research, spent some time on it, trying to figure it out. So I think we should come at it from the educational perspective of you're a new athlete, you're into a sport that requires anti-doping. What do you have to change?
Yep.
Because one of the worst things is like an athlete getting their adverse analytical finding and like it was contamination or something, which we'll get into and like how different things work. So I think today, guys, is going to be talking about anti-doping and WADA and just kind of how you navigate that as an athlete, because essentially the number one rule in this is it all falls back on the athlete. You are responsible for what goes into your body as an athlete. It doesn't matter what anybody else is telling you or saying, or
Mm.
there is no excuse of I didn't know, or so and so gave me this, or this said it was approved. Like you're responsible for what goes in. So how do you manage that the best possible? I think that's a educational way to do this. And as long as you agree, then we'll save the threshold for the next episode and really give an updated threshold for episode 68.
Yep.
Um,
That sounds good.
and then I would also, we got a couple comments and questions as well. Some I'm going to save, but there are three that I want to just read out loud. Um, and so the first one kind of made me laugh, and I'm going to, so the title of this was an email. Uh, the title of this one is, where'd it go? Oh, dang it. So the title is Your Podcast is Ruining My Runs. And it said, the email said, Hi, Anthony. I'm mostly listening to podcasts during my easy runs, but I just want to say that I had to stop listening to yours and JK's. I get so much fantastic inspiration and tips, so I have to keep stopping to write down notes on my phone. Great for my coaching, but less great for my own training. I'm now listening to your podcast when I'm available to take notes.
That's great.
And then a question, I'm looking to buy a lactate tester to use at home. Which one are you using? I saw it in Lauren's video, and do you recommend it? Thanks for everything. So that's how they put together their email to me, is that our
That's cool.
podcast was ruining their runs.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your lactate meter that you use?
So we use the Edge lactate meter.
Yeah.
Uh, the reason is because it was the one that I found first. I don't have experience with other ones, but uh, I mean, I bought it and I spent the 2, 3 hours learning how it works, reading the manual, going over what I need to do, making sure it was set up right. So now I'm invested into this one, and the process of learning another one, if it's not similar, makes it difficult. But
Yeah.
this one, I know how to do it. I know what it needs. I know what the readings mean. I know when there's an error reading, I can tell like the differences between good readings and bad, and everything on it. So I like using the one that we have. Um, they don't sponsor us, but I would, if they're looking to do that, I would constantly promote them anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I use the Edge lactate meter. And you have to buy strips separately. Make sure that you have a calibration um, uh, strip for it as well. And it's about $2 US dollars per strip every time you use it, though. So
Yeah.
just think about that.
That's
Like it, that's why we don't
expensive, isn't it?
constantly use it, because otherwise it's like $30 to do a workout.
To do one what? Yeah, to do one testing day. Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive. We've got the Edge one as well, so that's probably the most. Oh, sorry, there's others out there, sure, but I've used that one in the past as well. Um, which does the job. Does the job very nicely.
Yeah. And actually, we can go more into depth on this one when we do our lactate and
Mm,
threshold podcast. But in the future, one of the like big equipment pieces that maybe will come to the market, and we could talk a little bit about it too, the difference between using interstitial fluid, uh, skin sweat lactate, and blood lactate. So there's
yeah,
three ones, but it, people talk about it all the time as a continuous lactate monitor, a CLM, where like literally you could, if you ever saw those glucose monitors people had, where they like slapped it on their shoulder or tricep or something, and
Yeah.
then had the readout on their phone. That's
Yeah.
interstitial fluid, but you could also do like an embedded one, you could do like an earring one, or you could do like a wristwatch one that measures sweat lactate. But if you really want to get accurate, you got to do blood lactate.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. So that sweat lactate, is that actually a thing?
Yeah, but
Um,
it's that's just it, right? It's not super reliable. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna put this in the notes, and I want to say because I could go on this for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to save this for our threshold
Yeah, true. Yes.
talk. Um,
We got to talk about anti-doping.
yeah, but I want to read these other questions first, and then we'll get into the anti-doping. If anybody doesn't know, JK's got to run. Maybe he might have an emergency call, or not an emergency, but a need to go pick someone up call. So we will. He might run away somewhere in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other questions we got. Uh, this is a comment on YouTube. Thanks for another informative session. Question: in your opinion, what would be the bare minimum mileage per week minus the threshold sessions to still be competitive in the age group? I'm pretty close to 50 years of age, and I feel like anything over 30 or 35 miles really starts to hurt the joints, ankles, knees, etc. Also, oh, and then they who would win between Anthony and James in these workouts? And then they list one,
Oh,
two,
okay.
three, four workouts.
Okay.
So we'll get to the who would win here in a minute. But to answer the first part of the question, uh, bare minimum mileage per week minus the threshold sessions. So I don't know what they mean by minus the threshold sessions. That's
Yeah.
running that keeps you in. So that is part of your mileage.
Yeah.
Um,
And it always should be.
yeah,
You can't just minus it because it's
yeah.
a different type of running.
I'd say for me, my opinion on this, and it's going to be everybody's opinion, it's just anecdotal evidence. I would say it takes about 30 to 35 miles as your minimum to feel real change and feel progression. If you're doing less than that, it's really hard to gauge unless you are doing all the quality mileage that somebody doing 35 miles a week would be doing, and then just stacking biking on that or something that's
Yeah, yeah.
less impact.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I also just think like the answer to that, and I'm sorry, but it just depends on where you've come from. Um, like you could say, yeah, that 35 miles is a good indicator, but also if you've had a history of running more than that for an extended period of time, then maybe it's more than that. So yeah, it's so hard. Like questions like this are great. Like we obviously love these questions, but as we always say, and I've learned this from you, Anthony, I'll always say like most answers that we get start with it depends.
Yeah,
They're like it depends, it depends, and there's no like one answer to the majority of athletes out there. So, but that's a good gauge. 35 miles, Anthony. But definitely that threshold is involved in that as well. So yeah, 35 miles is about 60, no, 55 kilometers.
uh yeah,
Like
35,
that.
so
Yeah.
50 kilometers would be about 31, 32 miles. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
about 55
Got
kilometers.
that.
Okay, now here's the workouts, JK. He wants to know who would win out of us in these workouts. And I gotta say, I think I take three of them.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
It's not too frozen, and I hope it's still recording me. There you are. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first one, Fran.
Oh,
they're all named CrossFit workouts. That's why I say I think I win. Uh,
okay. Anthony would win.
so have you ever you did Fran, but you did it strict, right?
I did strict Fran, yeah.
And you were around 4 minutes.
I like 4:30, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I have my lifetime. I pulled up my logbook here. I have my lifetime PR for Fran as a 2:23.
It's not bad. That
And
is
that was like
very good.
middle of CrossFit days, right?
Yeah.
So
That is a
um,
very good Fran time.
I think if I did Fran right now, I'd probably go just under 3 minutes still. I was
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
consistently able to get just under 3 minutes for Fran, so I think if I did it now, I'd still be under three.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Fran, if anybody doesn't know, is 21:15.9 of thrusters and pull-ups. Thrusters are at 95 pounds for men, 65 for women.
Yeah.
All right, the next workout is a hero workout. This is the one that I don't know, JK. I'm pretty sure no matter how slow you are on the second movement, you beat me. You get to break it up however you want. Um, so I don't know if I've ever actually done this one. No, I don't. I don't have a result for this, but you get to break it up however you want. But the workout is a 10-mile run and 150 burpee pull-ups.
Is that actually a workout? Like a
Yeah. So you
is
could
it?
you could do so example if you did like 1 mile 10 rounds of 1 mile run and 15 burpee pull-ups. Like you could
Oh,
do it like
true.
that.
Okay.
You could do 5 rounds of 2 miles and 30 burpee pull-ups. You could do it straight, 10-mile run, 150 burpee pull-ups. You could do it however you want. But I don't I don't see me beating you in that.
Why not?
Just because I think it, no matter what, really, like you got me by at least maybe 4 to 6 minutes on the run, on the 10-mile run. At least, like, and that's if I'm dying and you're taking it easy.
Yeah. I'm putting look, I'm not yeah, I'm putting my hand up and say that I'd get you on this one, Anthony.
I think
I'm
you
just
would.
thinking how I'd split that up. I'd probably go miles. I'd probably go 1 mile at a time and then a few of the like 10 or so burpee pull-ups. Um yeah, but that's a good one.
Um, all right. And then the other workout, the next one is Chief or the Chief.
Which is
So Chief is uh five 5 rounds of AMRAP 3 minutes with 1 minute off, rest in between. Okay. And the workout is 3 power cleans at 135 for men, 95 for women. So that'd be 60 kilos for men,
hmm
6 push-ups, and 9 air squats. And you just repeat that over and over and over again uh, for 5 3-minute AMRAPs.
I like that workout. I like
It's
it.
a lot of
I've never
fun.
heard of it. Yeah.
I've actually
Yeah.
done this workout a lot.
Right. I like
It
it.
definitely gets your back going.
Is it 579
369.
369? Yeah. This would be a workout that um oh look, I think you would end up getting me. But hey, I think I'd hold on very close. Would you do the cleans unbroken like every time or would you break them up?
Just for reference, I do this workout like every 4 months.
Yeah.
Um, I did it when I was in Montana, I think maybe even twice this year.
Yeah. How
Um,
many rounds per AMRAP?
so I'm trying to remember what I got. Like I'm looking it up, but I can't find it because it's not, so many people have different versions of it. It's not easy to find. Um, but I know for a fact I've done it where I've gotten at least five. AMRAP, and I think yeah, here it is. Sorry, I think my best I've ever done, uh, because I have a big history on this workout, is 28 total rounds. Uh,
In the three,
so in the 5 3-minute AMRAPs, I totaled
in the
28.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, here it is. I did 6 rounds plus 3 reps. I did 6 rounds even, 5 rounds plus 2 reps, 5 rounds plus 1 rep, 5 rounds plus 3 reps. Um, I did it
I like
after a
it.
22-minute run, and the power cleans were unbroken, touch and go, push-ups unbroken. These are my notes on it. Power cleans unbroken, push-ups unbroken, slow air squats. For 28 total rounds.
I like it, Anthony. I'd enjoy giving it a crack at some point, Coach.
I'd be interested. I'd be interested
Mm,
if we could crack it.
yeah.
Um, all right. And the last workout, this one I think would be really fun for me and you to do side by side when I'm fit, because I think this one would be like a pretty good race. I don't want you
Hmm.
to think like, oh, you're just saying that. You're not going to beat me in this. I think it's going to be a pretty good race. And the workout
Yep.
is called Kelly.
Yep.
Do you know that one?
Is it box jump and run?
Yep. So it's 5 rounds for time of a 400-meter run, 30 box jumps, and 30 wall balls.
And 30 box jumps, 30, that's a great workout.
Yep.
That's a good workout.
Um,
I think uh box jump at 24 inch, right? And it's not
yeah,
box jump overs.
yeah. It's box jump, stand all the way up.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be close because I think I'm coming close to or breaking 20 minutes. Um, I know I've gone under 21 minutes before,
Yeah.
but I'm a faster runner than I was last time I did that. So just for example, in order to break 20 minutes, if you do a minute 40 on every run, which that's not a super hard
It's
run
not
for you,
hard. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
means you have a minute 20 for the box jumps. 30
Yeah.
box jumps in a minute 20 is just 20 box jumps a minute. And then 30 wall balls takes 1 minute.
Yeah.
So you'd have to do 4 minutes per round to break
Yeah.
20. And I'm pretty sure I could break 20.
You could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think without rebounding, because I'm not going to risk my Achilles, I still think I could do 20 box jumps a minute, step down, and still hit the workout in under 20.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think it'd be a good race.
I think it'd be a good one. I think you might get me simply because you're getting 10 to 15 seconds on every run each
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah.
not a lot in the box jumps and the wall balls to like make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. I've never
So
heard of that one. Oh, sorry,
unless you,
I had, but I thought it was just run and box jump.
I
But the
think I've
wall
given
ball.
it to you before with like where you rode box jump and wall ball.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that one, good workout. Anyway, that's a question. We will get to the doping. We got one more question, anti-doping stuff we'll get to in a minute. The one more question we have is this one. It might be a little bit more for you because I'm going to tell you it's nutrition related. And I like to defend any nutrition related things away from me because I'm not, I'm not in con I am in control. I'm not the best nutrition wise for myself, and I don't always feel like I should give nutrition advice. So here's the question. When you mentioned nutrition, you said that you would not decrease calories during taper. So let's say one is eating 4,500 calories a day during a normal training week. Is it correct then that you would stay at that amount in the taper then? And wouldn't it be a big surplus? How do you want to go about that? Because I would have an opinion on that, but it's not. Um, Let me just hear what you got to say.
Oh, well, mine's exactly the same, Anthony. Like mine's just an opinion. Yes, I do live and I am I live with a sports nutrition coach. Shout out to Georgie who's a sports nutrition coach. But as you just said, I'm not a professional myself. So this is opinion as well. And as we discussed last time, right? Like um our thoughts and opinions are just like what we've discovered ourselves like by trial and error, and then obviously like doing our own research, etc., etc. So, um, but I guess my response to it is that during a taper, we want our bodies to recover as much as possible. Um, and that's pretty much just the point of the taper, right? So, um, if you're reducing volume and not training as much and not moving as much, um, why would you do the same with your nutrition by um, decreasing calorie intake, which is just going to not allow you to recover um, um, more, right? I hope that makes sense. So, like if you keep to your normal calorie count, but reduce your training, you're going to allow yourself to recover because nutrition is recovery. And yeah, that's my opinion on it. I always say to my athletes who do ask, what should I do in the taper with respect to my nutrition? It's making sure your calorie or your glycogen system, aka carbohydrate intake and energy production system, is as high as possible. Um, because if that's the case, then you'll be able to recover during that week. Yeah, yeah, that's my thoughts on that, Anthony. How about yourself?
Yeah, so with the nutrition one, I would say pay attention, like you were talking about the macros, the carbs and the protein intake that you're getting is more important. But one of the things we had talked about, right, is you want to not turn off your metabolism by massive surplus for a sustained time can turn down that fire because it's like, oh, now we have enough fuel, we're gonna reserve it, right?
Yeah,
Um, but at the same time, you still want to continue your eating process because you're still going to be working out. Your volume's down. Uh, you still have some intensity, and you're about to put a big effort, and you have to type off your glycogen stores, like we talked
yeah,
about. So I do think you can continue eating, even like maybe not like peak week eating, right? But you don't under eat because you're like, I'm not working out and I need to eat less. Like you don't all of a sudden cut your calories because if you cut, um, and guys, metabolism is super complex. It's more than just calories. Like, yeah, calories are king and calories in, calories out for very, 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 very basic. But
yeah,
but you need to there's a lot more to that. And so like under eating, your body will all of a sudden be like, oh, we got to shut down how much we're burning because if we're under eating, all of a sudden we're in a stress that we're not getting the food we need to.
yeah,
Let's turn off and stop burning what we already are eating. So you got to
yeah,
keep it up, keep it going. Um, so I would turn it like that. Now, basically, this is just like I said, it's anecdotal for me personally. Is I target my protein at like 200 grams of protein a day, which is about 1 gram per pound of body weight.
yeah,
Um, I'm looking to get 200 grams of protein per day and then all my other calories, I want to do some of them in fat, and then any extra working out, any extra additional that I do, I add it only in carbohydrates or mostly in
Yeah.
carbohydrates.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So
sounds about right. Yeah.
that's just like how I have gone about it. But that's really basic too. And then I
Mm.
just track on a tracking app on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Because if I don't track and I don't do it, I can get way out of control and way overeat.
Yeah.
So, all right. Do you want to get into this anti-doping talk?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So
Let's
guys,
do it.
we're gonna come at this from obviously educational perspective. Um, and the perspective is, JK, you're an athlete. So we're going to come at this as an athlete that is in a sport and you don't have any experience with anti-doping testing, WADA. What does that mean when something's WADA compliant versus just normal anti-doping? Um, so let's define a few things first. What is WADA? WADA is the World Anti-Doping Agency. Um, they write basically the code for what is and isn't allowed for the Olympic sports. Uh, and they're a platform, right? So they essentially what just for example, with private companies uh, and with sports that are in the Olympics and things like this, WADA does not test for anti-doping outside of like Olympics and federations. So High
Mm.
Rocks itself and other sports like CrossFit, and CrossFit I'm going to refer to a lot here um, because I know their drug policy. Like I've read it in their
Yeah.
rule books before, and in research that I've done this past week, that's kind of a template you got to follow. But High Rocks is going towards, right? They want to go to the Olympics, so they have to be WADA compliant. So what does that mean? Well, WADA compliant means that they're going to get a third party testing agency to test their athletes to the standards of WADA, right? And there's other anti-doping. There's US USADA, which is the US anti-doping agency, has a little bit different than WADA. Uh, there's the NCAA anti-doping code, right, for all collegiate athletes that is a little bit different. Things are and aren't allowed, different requirements for TUEs and stuff like that. Those are different than WADA. So that's like you're testing to a standard. And so, for example, CrossFit is a private company, has athletes that they want to drug test. They drug test them using a company called Drug Free Sport. Right. So Drug Free Sport, they're the ones that administer the test, go over the analytics, protect the chain of custody, and administer the testing and analytics on it. Then they report back to CrossFit
Yep.
what the results are. They
Yep.
test those athletes to the WADA standard, and WADA has different standards depending on the sport that you're in,
Mm.
right? So it's super complex. And there is no list. There is no like, there's no such thing as here's everything you're allowed to take and here's everything you're not allowed to take. And they're never going to release the list that says here's what we test for and here's what we don't test for. Like they're not going to tell you that. And they're not going to tell you here's what we test for and these are the tests too. Right?
Yeah.
They say here's what's allowed and here's what's not allowed, and they're not testing for your urine or blood to have these exact things in them. Like if you take something synthetic or if you take something like a steroid, they're not testing for is that molecule in there. They're testing for what's called a metabolite, which is what that molecule breaks down to when you excrete it.
Right. Yep. Mm.
Um, so that's just kind of what WADA is and what the PEDs and stuff are. Now, let's start out with there are other ways to get banned that are not testing positive.
Mm.
And sometimes you'll hear about athletes like sometimes it's less of a ban. So they'll be like, I'm going to get what's called an administrative ban or a self ban instead of failing a drug test. Because then they technically never failed the drug test. They got banned because either they failed to show up to the drug test or they did something incorrect or they basically there's like the self-incrimination, right? Where
Right.
like, oh, I posted a picture of myself getting in an intravenous um, uh, something like vitamin cocktail. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if all the ingredients of that are legal and unbanned or allowed substances. They getting anything intravenously, an IV, is banned. So you
Yeah.
can't take something in an IV unless it's an emergency or you have a TUE for it.
Yeah.
And we'll get into like TUEs and stuff too. So, and the athlete themselves is responsible for what they put in the body. So you need to remember that doctors can prescribe you something, painkillers, super strong narcotic painkillers, because those are not allowed. Doctors can prescribe you a banned substance, like when you're injured or like coming back for an injury or something. Just because it's a prescription doesn't mean it's allowed.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
so you're responsible for what you put in your body. Even if you have a doctor's note, you have to get a TUE first. And
Yeah.
an athlete that is injured that has the athlete licenses, you're going to have to get them every year, but I think they're good for 2 years. I think you sign a 2 year agreement with it. So you're in the drug testing pool, the pool of athletes for 2 years. Like for CrossFit, you agree to their drug testing policy when you sign up for the open, which means when you pay for the 20, $25, whatever it is now, to sign up for the open and you agree to their drug testing policy, at any time somebody can show up to your door and test you.
Right.
Um, and that's kind of like, so that's CrossFit's way of doing it. High Rocks just implemented the athlete license. And so that's how they're going to create their drug testing pool,
Yeah.
right? And so you have to be within that pool. And that's like just part of it. So those are some of the things that are involved with like, hey, I'm a new athlete. Like there were so many rookies last year. Were there 3 or 4 men that were rookies, and there were, I think, 7 or 8 women that were rookies,
Yeah.
right? They come into this sport and they have never been in drug testing before. They might not know what's going on or like what can get them banned. So um, I don't know if you want to go in. There's more than just like drug classifications. There's things you need to think about, like therapeutic use exemptions. Well, let's just start there. Let's start with a TUE, a therapeutic use exemption. You
Mhm.
cannot get a TUE for a banned substance unless there's like mitigating circumstances. You cannot get a TUE for hormone replacement therapy if it includes testosterone, right? Like that's like part of WADA is like, yeah, you can get a TUE for some things, but the TUE isn't like a blanket and they can decline TUEs. They can tell you, no, you can't have them. If somebody has ADHD and they want to take Adderall, you can try to get a TUE, but a lot of time like it's just going to get uh, told no. You know,
Yeah.
things that are under TUEs. So inhalers, if you're asthmatic and you have an inhaler, you're supposed to get a TUE for some of the things that are inhalers. But you got to think about that because like an inhaler is a bronchodilator, right? So it's like supposed to give you better airflow. Uh, so things like salbutamol, which is albutamol, sorry, I pulled this up, Ventolin, ProAir, Proventil. There's limits on how much you're allowed to have within a 24-hour period. Um, and everybody needs to remember too, there are things on the WADA list, and I'm going to share the WADA prohibited list. Why don't we? Why don't I'm going to put that in the show notes here, the WADA prohibited list, so that everybody can see. Like, if you want to go click on it, it's pretty simple to search. But um, there's things that are banned in competition, and there's things that are banned year round, right? Um, there's different requirements for a lot of this stuff. So um, there's things that are here, well, on the prohibited list that's updated every January 1st. It contains substances and methods banned in and out of competition. Uh, for example, something banned like I'm trying to think of what's something that's banned in competition only, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Um, like a high grade stimulants and stuff like that would be like in competition banned. Um,
Yeah.
things that you're not allowed to have. Alcohol, I think, is in competition ban. Um,
Right.
which
Yeah.
like, what are you gonna do? Take some shots and drinks and then go run this thing, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, there's different categories. So there's categories SO to S9, which are prohibited substances. So that's stimulants, anabolic agents, EPO, hormones, synthetic cocktails, and things like that. Um, and then there's M1 to M3, which are prohibited methods. So that would include your IVs, like getting intravenous drugs, blood doping, because like apparently like a blood doping is not a substance, it's re-administration of your own blood back into your body, right? So that's a
Yeah.
prohibited method. So things like that are the M1s to M3s. And then there's specified versus non-specified substances. So specified is like more unintentional. So stimulants that are in your substances or stimulants that are accidentally mixed in. And then non-specified are always super serious. So like
Yeah.
steroids. And so what specified versus unspecified means um, is that specified means that there is a limit. Like if they detect any, if there's a limit to the amount of metabolites allowed in your urine or in your blood, that there's a specified limit.
Yeah.
Non-specified means if they detect any at all, no matter how small, picograms of it, you are banned because that is a 100% prohibited substance. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like knowing how to use the prohibited list. Um, and so what that means, guys, is like when you go and take something, if you have your creatine, you have your protein, you have your uh, beta alanine, or anything else that you're taking, citrulline, like all of these supplements that people are pushing constantly on you. Um, you the idea is to get them sports certified and not just like certified or like, oh, safe. It's like it should say there's a certification labels that say safe for sport or
Yeah.
sport certified. And it's supposed to be specifically for sport, not just like FDA approved or something. Um,
Yeah.
I actually FDA doesn't regulate the supplement industry, so you're not going to get FDA approved ones usually. Um, but that's super important to get those certifications because they're saying this has been tested or this batch has been tested, and they can go back and you save your containers and say, oh, I was taking these things. And now, if you get an adverse analytical finding, you can trace it back directly to where you got it from. And they can go
Yeah.
back and look at, oh, this manufacturing facility or this inspector passed like this. And people often say, like, well, how does something get contaminated? How is it contaminated? Well, the reason is because these manufacturing plants, they don't just manufacture one thing, right? They
Mm.
might run literally like they're manufacturing so many different things and they run them on the same machines. We stop it, they clean the machines, but they don't maybe clean them all the way. And then what's the next thing you're going to run? Oh, we're going to run a batch of protein now. And then you start mixing the protein and there's still like residue from what they had just
Yeah.
ran or something that's like cross contaminated from another part of the same facility gets into that protein and they do it. So
Yeah.
you just have to be really careful on things like that. So that's why JK, I think you always take sports certified supplements, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
And
going to put a little plug in here. Guys, this is where you use them. You can go to TheFeed and you can literally search sports certified.
yeah. And that's exactly what I've done, like since I've been with the feed, only using sports sort of certified. But I think from like my end, Anthony, as a athlete, who can get tested, um, the one thing I did early, and that was 2 years ago now, when we started understanding, okay, like we are going to get drug tested, is the lingo and the language of the actual WADA prohibited list is out of my is very hard to understand. And understanding like what you can take and what you can't take is hard to understand. And I'll be the first to say that. I started obviously reading, and I continue to read like a lot about the list because they always update as well. But from my end, I've got a very good friend of mine who's a doctor and a pharmacist, who is my go-to when it comes to anything that I end up like wanting to know. Um, Everything that I take is sports certified, but I also have him to relay with any information that I want to know. Like even to the point, right, where Panadol and Nurofen and any like I guess like um simple drugs or simple like drugs that you can get over the counter. Not that I'll be honest, like not that I take a lot of that, but I've had to be careful, like even taking anything over the counter. So I've got a really good relationship with him to be able to like know and understand. So he's pretty much my go-to when it comes to anything that I want to know, and that's pretty much how I operate with it. All the feed sports certified supplements is the first thing, but then the second thing is like, okay, if I want information, it's actually going to a professional that knows more so the lingo than anything else, and more so like understands like the actual like terminology when it comes to what's actually being tested.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And that I'm glad you said that kind of stuff too. Like, guys, just remember, um, if you need a prescription on everything, do not just take what a doctor gives you or what you're prescribed.
No.
And over the counter stuff, um, always check against the prohibited list.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be compliant with the rules of it, then you check against the prohibited list and you ask anti-doping agencies if you need a TUE for something.
Yeah.
Um, and then, JK, let's talk a little bit about actually getting tested. All right.
Yeah.
So you're tested in you're placed into this registered testing pool. There's well, let's first talk about ADAMS. So ADAMS is the Anti-Doping Administration and Management System. Uh, Generally, what that means, and I believe Hyrox is on their way to implementing this, but they're not there yet. But this
Yeah.
is this is how out of competition testing would be. Um, Athletes have to submit weekly where they're going to be, um, and at any time, a representative of whatever testing agency would come to your door. And I think it's usually a 1 hour notice, or it's just show up and you have 1 hour to show up. Um, they would show up, they would knock on your door and say, I'm here for anti doping. Here's who I'm with, here's what it's for. Um, and you would go get it taken care of. Now,
Hmm.
one thing you need to make sure you're doing, especially is if you're a young athlete or a rookie athlete or somebody, any athlete actually, you need to know what you are taking as far as supplements and medications or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because during a drug test, they're going to ask you write down everything you're taking. And you're supposed to write it down. And if you have any TUEs, you need to write that stuff down as well. Because what they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, you tested positive for this, or you have an adverse analytical finding for this, or like there are several things that you could take that are allowed, that are not banned substances that create similar or uh, types of metabolites that they would be testing for, and they get a mark on that, and they're like, oh, they tested for this metabolite, and they don't say that they're taking these one of these three things that could create this. It must be from a banned substance. So you have to
Yeah.
know what you're taking as well. Um,
Yeah.
so they ask you that type of stuff. They get you to go in the back and urinate or take a blood test. And this is also what happens at competition. Somebody has to be with you at all times from the moment you cross the finish line. They have their eyes on you, so you can't go like dump something off or change something. Because there's another way without a positive drug test that you get caught is if you just get caught with um, any banned substance on your person. If there is any substance in your bag or on your person and you get caught, that is also means for a sanction,
Yeah.
um, even if your drug test comes back clean.
Yeah.
So say you get an out of competition drug test, you're a random drug test. And I actually had this happened to me twice when I was in college. I got drug tested twice. I think once my sophomore year and once my senior year. Um, I think our coaches I think our coaches actually requested the entire team be drug tested our senior year. Um, and so they show up. You have the right to have a representative present with you during your drug test. I don't think anybody really uses that, but basically, you could ask somebody to come with you to basically monitor the administrator, the drug tester. Um, so you have that right. You always review and sign the doping control form very carefully. You need to declare all supplements and medications you're taking that are on the form. And then you have to hit a certain, if it's a urine test, you have to fill it to a certain level um, of it. And that's actually why, like, sometimes it takes people several hours after competition has ended because you're dehydrated and you go in there and you just don't get enough. And even if you don't pee enough, you have to dump that out and then wait until you can
Yeah.
fulfill to the minimum required amount.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, is there anything else really? There's so much information on this, guys. If you have questions, please reach out. I spent the last week basically trying to learn, and I went in deep dives into so many different places, including Reddit, trying to figure out where answer questions like this. If you
Yeah.
have any questions, would be interested to talk to you guys. And then if you want to take a educational course on this, because I think education is super important to people looking to start somewhere with this. USADA has True Sport. It's a True Sport course you can take where it gives you a bunch of information. And that's one of the things we had to do. Like, we didn't know where to start with drug testing when it was introduced. First thing we did was like, okay, let's get rid of all the supplements that are not sports certified and tested. Not that they
Mhm.
weren't before, but like you just have to be extra careful. Um,
Yeah.
and then uh, go and take like an educational course. And not just like influencer tagline stuff, like actually from a drug testing agency course is super important. Um,
Yeah. For sure.
and
Yeah.
if you are an athlete, keeping a compliance binder, so like taking photos of every new uh, supplement you get, you just take a picture of it and store it and keep it. So that if something does come back positive, you can go back and see the lot numbers and the supplements that you're taking. You have a record of the past ones. Because if it's
Yeah.
gone and you throw away the container, you still need to know like, hey, I went back and did this, and then like you can recall the testing companies or tell them which lot numbers they were and how they were tested.
Yeah.
Because
And yeah, like from my end as well, it's asking a professional like and someone who's like in the pharmaceutical game, I guess, whether it is a doctor or a pharmacist or someone who just knows the lingo as well. From my end, that's really important because I'm just looking at the WADA list right now, and the wording is so hard to understand, and hence why, just asking for help and asking for more understanding from someone who actually knows what these words mean and what these drugs are is really important. So don't be afraid to obviously ask your healthcare professionals.
Right. And coming from a coach's side, like as a coach, I need to know all this too because who's the first person the athletes ask, right?
Mm,
Usually they ask their coach.
yeah,
And you should be knowledgeable about like, oh, here's where you find that information.
yeah,
Because that's 90% of it, right? Is where do you find this information at? How do you know? And
yeah,
like it's just education in that way. Um, Additionally, guys, one more thing I want to add is that um, most of the time people are not caught for what they're actually on. Like they're not
mm,
caught for like improvement, their PEDs that they're on. They're caught because of a masking agent or something they took to try to hide the drug. So like if they're especially like in competition testing, one of the things they do is they like take a diuretic and like flush their system or try to dilute their system so much that the sample isn't detected.
yeah,
Um, and so a lot of times they don't know. And so you'll see these like shorter bands, and you might get like people don't really know about like the CrossFit. Sometimes they post about them, sometimes they don't. CrossFit has admitted in the past that they have not released an adverse analytical finding because the athlete like was in the military at the time and they didn't want to like affect them with their job and things like that. So if that happens, they just like shadow ban them and tell them don't come back for a year or two. And like that's how you get like some of these athletes with like speculation, but like backroom bans, that
yeah,
aren't announced.
yeah,
Like, oh, they're all of a sudden injured or something happened or they're not able to they don't compete for a year or two or something like that because they have
yeah,
a poor finding.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm gonna have to run, but
That is
we
fine.
could obviously, yeah, we could obviously talk more in detail about it. But I
Yeah.
guess, yeah,
JK is
if
going to
there's
go pick up
any,
his mom,
yeah,
right? All right. So
yeah,
thanks, guys. The next episode will be on Threshold. Any questions or comments you have, please send them in. We do have a few more in the bank, but we're going to bank them up before we get back to our questioner or listener questions that we'll continually answer. Thanks for giving us a listen, JK. You want to send us out?
yeah. Thanks, guys. Any questions and yeah, anything at all. jk.james.kelly on Instagram.
All right. Yeah. Or you can reach out to me at the Hybrid Engine on Instagram, and you can email us as well. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Everybody, have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. If you'd like to reach out and get in contact with us, you can email the Hybrid Coaching Podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram either at the Hybrid Engine or at jk.jameskelly. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.